press kits. And at the end, I'll give you a reminder about location, but right now I'd like to thank Mary Beth again for all her hard work in putting the webinar together, as well as reviewing everyone's press kits. And just a reminder, please keep your phone, use the chat box for any communication, and I will monitor that and help Mary Beth with any questions you might have. So without further ado, here's Mary Beth Pilley.
All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for getting here early. There was a bunch of you here on the line, so I guess you had gotten comfortable with the system. It's fairly new to all of us, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to use the chat box like Eileen had said. I hope everyone's in a comfortable, quiet room. You don't have to take notes. I will be able to record this. This call is being recorded, and we will be sharing notes as well. So you'll have copies of the slides. You'll have some extra supplements to also help you in preparation for your speed dating session. So this webinar is about preparing your press kit and getting the document to be as most effective as possible and present your store in the best way possible. So we're going to just go to the next slide. The next slide, Eileen had asked to make sure that you all are aware of an event coming up sponsored by NABA. If you are planning or responsible for scheduling events for your store, you want to definitely make sure you know all about the events retreat. It's exclusively designed for event planners. It is taking place in April 12th through the 13th. I believe strongly in getting together with the people who do the same roles. It's an opportunity to do some great masterminding and networking. You can definitely expand your ideas about event planning and definitely recharge your enthusiasm about it. It's an event where 2 of the regions are coming together, and for more information, go to the NABA website. I hear a little background noise. If you haven't already, please mute your phone or mute the system. Okay. All right, so we're going to go to the next slide. So a little bit about me for those of you that don't know. I am Mary Beth Pilley. I am an event planner for Booktown. We're located here in Manasquan, New Jersey. I live at the Jersey Shore here with my family. I'm also a marketing consultant. I call myself a marketing strategist. Booktown is one of my clients. I work with other small business owners in different industries. I continuously, like you guys, always invest in my education. I am a past speed dater, and I attended the one in October, and it was very successful for our store. I felt that the relationships were good, and the levels of people that we met and had an opportunity to meet all at once was a great opportunity. And my goal for all of you on the call is to think a little bit like marketers. You already are excellent booksellers, so you want to just look at what you already do well and turn it into leverage it for marketing purposes. So what is a press kit? I'm going to dive right in because I have a lot of examples to show you. So if you're not familiar with what a press kit is or what the purpose is, it's kind of like a new phenomenon. It's always been around, but we're using it more and more these days so we can communicate with the publishers more succinctly. So basically, it's a very concise, condensed document about what you do well in your store. Okay, I like to make sure it's a document that features our unique selling points. Okay, because if you think about it from a publisher's point of view, they have so many bookstores to deal with that how is your store going to stand out amongst the pack? So it gives you an opportunity to put that on a piece of paper in front of them, and that they can use it for reference to make the best decision of matching up authors to your store. I also think it's a great tool for communication and training for your staff. It helps you get really clear and enunciate what you do well, why your store is again, unique and special, and why these authors would be a good fit for you. This may sound very basic, but some people kind of get away from that. And you definitely want to look at your store because we all sell books and we all do it well and we're all very knowledgeable in it. That's just the baseline that's expected. But what do you do that's unique and different? So you want to make your store memorable to your publishers and your publicists and your authors in the media contacts that you're sending this document out to. What a press kit is it's not a long document that is giving the whole backstory of the history of the store. You can definitely provide that, but I want to make sure that we're clear when we look at these documents that, and you will see a wide array of examples, but for the most part, you want to make sure you are very, very aware of who is reading your document. And for the most part, they're busy publicists, busy marketing directors, publicity managers and directors that are being solicited from so many bookstores that you want to make sure that you are giving them all the information that's on this document is relevant to them. Okay, so you have to, we'll go through the examples and I'll show you to make sure that you're providing information that is not going to be either hidden and buried in your copy, or if it's not relevant at all for them to make a decision if an author is going to be a good match for you. Okay, so we're going to go through examples on that, but that's what I just want to make sure. It's very, very important that you understand who your audience is, who's reading this. Okay, the press kit, why you do need a press kit is because it just the things that I just said. You want to make sure that what you are good at and what your strengths are for your store are crystal clear on this document. And it gives you an opportunity. You work very, very hard on working on your location, picking a location, or you work very, very hard making sure that you are keeping the attention of your community and distinguishing yourself from maybe a big box or an online vendor for books. So you want to make sure that it's crystal clear. This is a document where you get to promote all those assets that you have. There's some must-haves that I feel are pretty basic, but they're also very good reminders for people who are preparing their press kit. I have a list of 5 here that I want to make sure that you are, when you scan your documents and you're reviewing them, you want to make sure that you're having all these basic informations here. We want to make sure you have complete contact information where you are. Like I said, you work really hard to leverage your location. You want to make sure that on the document, we know where you are too. Assume that they just haven't visited your store and they need to know who you are, where you're located. Headers and footers are a formatting issue for these documents. I think it's very important to have headers and footers on your document so each page can stand on its own if it ever gets separated, if it's printed, or when they're looking at it quickly, they can find out where you are and who I'm talking, what store I'm talking about. If you have a logo, I'd like to use that logo. I like photos to be used in these documents. It also gives them a quick idea of the atmosphere of the store, the layout of the store. Again, your website, your phone and email, all that contact information. And I personally like to have contact information. If there's a person in the role for event planning, I'd like you to make sure that you give that person's direct name instead of just a general phone number to the store. Okay, so just want to make sure that we have everyone. I just heard some background noise, so just want to make sure that the recording is good for everyone when they want to hear it later. So if you haven't muted yet, please mute. So the second element, of course, is to make sure that you have identified the major cities that you're close to and the distances from them. So when the publicity directors and contacts are planning their author tours, they can map out a tour that's going to make sense for the author, both expense-wise and time-wise. So you want to make it really easy for them that they know where you are, where you're located. The demographic statistics, what kind of community do you have? Do you have an affluent community? Do you have a book buying community? Do you have a family oriented? Do you have a retiree? All those demographics help us understand who's supporting your store, and also, again, making a better match for your store with the authors. A description of the community. Again, where are you located in relation to other venues or other types of associations that are going to be able to support and give you an extended market, extend your client exposure. Okay, so customer exposure. So if you have a college town, if you have again families and schools around, definitely highlight that. All right, number 3. What is already working in your marketing channels? We all have different ways of getting the message out. We want to make sure that, and there's some that we're always using all the time, like for example, e-newsletters, but what's working really, really well? If something is there, just don't put things on there that you aren't using actively and aren't working. So make sure that you have things on there that are going to be productive for an event, getting the message out for an event. So don't forget about your sidewalk marquees, and don't forget about your windows displays. Make sure you're using your windows displays to advertise for those events, and if they are working, you have a lot of sidewalk foot traffic, make sure you add that to your press kit to make that known that you have a lot of foot traffic, and that helps us get the word out. Important element number 4 is to highlight. This is important for a store, especially who is in like the foundational stages of event marketing and promotion. You want to make sure that the publisher house and the publicity people understand what your experience is with events. It's not to so other people can compare your numbers. It's really so the publicity people can say, okay, they have a system and they're comfortable doing this type of event. So I particularly recommend that you report in some way, in a high level way, how your events have been performing. If you want to just list the names and the authors and the book titles, that's fine, but make sure that you're reporting your top 10 or your most recent that you have if you don't have 10, if you're just starting out in event marketing. All right, so of course, always try to group them into genres and age groups so they can get an idea if you have a lot of children events or mystery events and so forth. And you'll see some grids in the examples that I'm going to show you of how we like to lay out this information. And it's just different ways so the reader, the person who is going to be receiving this document, is going to get their important information at a glance. And also, of course, it's very, very important for us to be able to develop effective marketing, co-marketing relationships with partners so we can expand, again, the reach of our events. And that has to be promoted in this press kit. So you want to think about who you work best with, who also has a marketing list that they are actively communicating with. You definitely don't want to be the one that's kind of the point about co-marketing. You're sharing, you're able to extend your marketing reach with whoever you're partnering with. So I've had that problem with Booktown. We've partnered with restaurants and they really don't have any active marketing techniques. So it really wasn't a good choice. So I won't necessarily go back to them, but I'm still looking for, maybe other partners in restaurants, particularly, that are working really well with their marketing system. And I can get my marketing event to their list really easily. So these are the partners that you want to be focusing and featuring on your press kit. Okay, so this is the exciting part. This is the examples. These are all the stores that submitted their press kit to me before the deadline, and I had to get started on them really early. So I apologize if you sent something out to me and it was past the deadline. If you, after this call, if you have any questions about your press kit and it's not clear from all these examples that I go over, please email me directly and we'll handle those questions after the call. So I just want to take a break and see from Eileen. Eileen, do we have anything going on in the chat room?
Nope, everything's good.
All right. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So I have an order for these. Let's see. My first example is going to be from Newtown. I'm going to have to escape out of this screen, so just bear with me so I can pull these up. Okay. All right. So this example was great. This is from Newtown Bookshop. And as you see, I'm big into headers and footers. They have a nice header and they have a nice footer down here. Okay. It is, I'll scroll over. It is a 3-page document. It's a 4-page, sorry. It's a 4-page document. So it's a little bit longer than I would recommend typically. And also I'm just telling, there are some stores that have a much longer document. For the general purposes, I like a 2 to 3 document. Even 1 page is fine, of course. You don't want to just fill it up with unnecessary information. But there are some exceptions to this, depending on where the store is in their business, level, I guess. Some stores have more complexity to their event marketing, and some are just starting out. So there's quite an array that you're going to see. For a general rule, I'd like to get it down to the minimal pages as absolutely possible. So I don't like to have filler information, and I don't like to have a lot of extra white space. That's not necessary. So for this example, I like to be able to, again, make this a scannable document. So when we're sending it to our busy contact, they're able to scan it quickly and pick out the information that they're looking for. So what I'd like to suggest for that is that here's a paragraph that has all the same priority statements. And I'm looking for maybe something that would be bolded and stand out amongst this copy. So for Newtown people, if you're listening, just like, I think it's very important that you bold this so I know right away where you are. This is the location of where you are and how many miles you are from Philadelphia. So again, it's a major city, it's a major hub, and how far you are from Philly and New York. I think that's important. That should be bolded. So things like that for other people who are listening, look at the copy on your press kit and say what copy can be bolded and stand out from the rest of the pack. Because at this point, this is all treated equally because nothing is really standing out not one thing is standing out. Okay. Also, the fact that you're voted, I know you have this logo down here. This is great, but also this is, bold your recognition awards. I think that's really great. Again, happy about the footer. Moving on to the second page here, they have the demographics, which I really like. But when I look at the map, I don't think the map is helping the numbers. I can't look at this map and first of all, I can't read it. It's tiny. I know this dot is Newtown, but I can't associate these numbers to this map. So I would either find a better map, but I'm probably suggesting, more likely suggesting that we get rid of the map. And I love that these cities have great demographics, especially this one, these, and if these are within a certain miles, I would add another column here and put how far these cities are from your store in another column. And I would just keep it like that, because then I would say, okay, I like this Wrightstown Township and these upper Makefield Townships. I'd like to know how far, these are all great demographics, how far are they from the store? And how many, even if you have more data about like how much of those people are supporting your store. Things like that. Again, another paragraph of all equal text. Is there something in here that I think that should be bolded? I like the fact that you have this unique cookbook group. I think that's really great. I would definitely highlight that. Okay, that stands out from the pack. It's different. It makes you unique. Bold it and promote it. Okay, moving over here to the third page. Wait, I'm just looking at my notes here. I want to just make sure you know this too. This is really great. They are looking for this. The publishers are looking for a way that you have consistent reading clubs coming in. I think you should definitely bold this summer camp. This is so great. That makes you unique. That's a lot of effort. So promote that, bold that, maybe even, I guess this picture associates with that. That's fine. So just bold that and make sure that that's being we're not hunting and pecking for that great information. All right, so back over here to this third page, you have 4 photos here. And when I look at them and I say, okay, does everything hold its own weight? And is the photos, this is what you want to do when you're thinking about photos and adding them to your press kit, are they promoting the strengths of the store? And I'm going to point to the ones that I think are. This one is right here. I love the fact that the author is here and I can see the layout of your chairs and how your events work. So I see the proximity from the audience to the author, and I like the dimensions of the room. I think that's a great picture. The one underneath it and the one that's over here on the right, I don't think depicts it as the room and the store event as strongly as the other ones. I like this one over here with the kids on the floor. I also like that I can see the layout of the room. It looks comfortable and enjoyable. Everyone's having fun. But these 2 photos right here, I would swap those out for either another one or just get rid of them, because I think with a 4-page document, I'm finding room where you can possibly condense. So this chart is great. This is what I mean by a grid. They're highlighting their events. What I would prefer on here is a header, so I know what year these events relate to. Okay, so again, you can make this smaller. You'll be eliminating some other things like the map and these extra pictures, and I think we can get this down to 3 pages for sure. You also have this great list of partnerships. Again, bold what I think is what you think is the best partnerships. Make sure all these partnerships are working for you. If they all work for you, just highlight the names right here. Highlight these names right here so it stands out and I can read it, or maybe add bullets. So again, we're making this scannable. This whole transportation section is very, very helpful. I think that should be over here by the demographics. Okay, so just the layout. You have really good information in this press kit. I think if you just make those tweaks, you can get it down to a shorter document. All right, so let me move on. So the second one that I have is Oblong. I know Oblong is not on the call, but I wanted to show you this example of their press kit. It is very graphical. It's beautiful. me get this into a full screen. Okay. I like it because it's, you know, it's a nice looking document. It looks, it's very, you know, advanced as far as presentation and layout. Someone who has graphic abilities has worked on this, and they did a nice job. I like the pictures. I almost like think it's a timeline of the story. It gives you a chance at the speed dating session to quickly do a timeline explanation of the growth of the store, and here are the owners. Okay, so I just want to show you. It is a very it's a 3-page document, so they really get it in within the requirements. And we have pictures of events. They look very current and up to date. The fact that they're a music store as well makes them unique. So again, I'm looking at copy right here and I'm saying, okay, bold something that I don't have to hunt and peck for. I think there's probably things in there that can be to stand out more. One of the notes that I have, I know Oblong has a logo, and I'm just curious to them. My question to them would be, where's their logo? Like, why didn't they choose to use that? I think if you have a logo, that was in one of my, you know, the important elements, it gives you that individuality, that independent small business feel. So I'm wondering why they chose not to use it. So there could be a reason, I don't know, but I particularly like to use logos and be consistent in using them. If you have a logo that's old or out of date, you feel, just make sure that you're using whatever one you're going to use it consistently through your marketing, so you're identifiable, it's recognizable to the people that are going to be seeing this information. All right, I also like this, you know, I like how they use these bold blocks, okay, these headers that make things stand out right here. So this tells me how many people are in attendance. I mean, it blows my mind. And how many units for sale. This is really great. So again, for 2004, they tell me the year, they tell me how active they are in doing events, and it tells me as a publisher and as a publicist that they have a system down for doing events. If you don't have a system and you're starting out, that's fine. What do you do with book clubs? What do you do with small group community, non-author events? All that stuff is going to help you. Okay. All right, so this is just another layout I wanted you guys to see. So we're moving on. We have Well Read. Bill's out there. I know he's on the call. And I did review Bill's press kit in the last session I had, but I wanted to just repeat some of the things. I wanted you, first of all, to see this layout. This is a really different layout. I like it. It's a trifold. Okay, so this all folds into a long piece of, you know, it's a pamphlet and it's a flyer. And what they have that's unique is that it's a husband and wife, right? And they're promoting it, and I love that. And I love that they have the pet of the store there featured. It adds a lot of independent feel to it. I like this photo too, that it shows the store being busy. So they have all the things that I like. They have the footer. They have exactly where they're located. They have important key staff, description of the store and their locations. This is the inside of it, okay? So this is the inside of the flyer. My question to Bill is, I went over this last time. You have all these media coverage here on the top right, and I'm wondering, are those publications that you advertise in, or are those the publications that your market reads? If it's publications that you advertise in, fine, keep it. But if it's the media and the publications that your market just happens to have available to them, is that relevant, and is that supporting your, how is that supporting your author events? And how is that helping decide about getting events? So my recommendation is look at that list and see what we're doing with it. And I would definitely put in some media that you would pay for advertising or they pick up your events in. So go through that and kind of sift through, make it clear. Again, remembering relevant, remember who your audience is. Bill's done a nice job with highlighting his top events, okay? We want to just put a year in here. I'm assuming this is all 2014 based on the date up here. But he also has a nice layout of photos. I mean, look at this. These events are just really great. They have great layout and they show a lot of fun, and they show the layout of the store. So I think he's done a great job, and it's just a few tweaks. And as far as style and layout, just gives you another idea of what you can do with your press kit. Reason why I'm showing you examples is I wanted you to be able to model what you see, meaning not copy straight out, but model it. Take what you're looking at and say, okay, how does that work for me? So that's the point of really going through this webinar and showing you examples of your colleagues. So my next one, number 4, is from Paper Cups JP, and they're a new store, and I'm thrilled that they're participating in this call. So what I love about Paper Cuts is they're brand new. They got a one-pager here, so that's great. And they have this unique opportunity to highlight that their owner is a professional publishing professional. So she's from that world that they're going to know that she understands. I would definitely highlight that. You know, we have the only independent bookstore highlighted, and we have thousands of social media followers highlighted. To me, when you're sending it to the audience of the publicity department, I think there's other things in this paragraph that can be bolded and stand out and make yourself more unique, right? So again, we know that the stock is carefully curated. That should be the case with all of you, but is there something else in here that is going to be stronger for your store? All right. I like the fact that you have all these local authors supporting the store. I think that's a big bang. Go leverage that, highlight that. My major recommendation for this press kit is the background design. I'm not big on this background inlaid design because I think it's distracting. When I look at it on my screen and when I print it, it's distracting. So my recommendation to Paper Cuts JP is to just take that off. Put it on a regular piece of paper. I just think it translates easier on when you're trying to review it really quickly. Otherwise, it's a great press kit. I would like to know, definitely remember to do this if you don't have it on your press kit already. Are you reporting, and are you set up to report to the New York Times? And I love that you have this quote from the Boston Magazine. Okay, this stuff is great. I love that they fill it in with effective, you know, they use that space effectively. Okay, and here's the contact information, frontline and center. So again, that would be my recommendation for them. All right, moving on. The next one is Chester County. Really happy with Chester Counties. I think they did a great job as well. If you look at it. All right, so we got this nice logo, we got this nice picture of their staff, and they're consistent. I went to their Facebook page and they use that photo as well, so I love that. Everything's kind of aligned. I'm going to see the same thing where I go in all their marketing. I like that. I mean, look at this awesome, it's not a footer per se, but it's a great picture of the store. They are a 2-page document, and when I go back to my checklist and saying, okay, do they have a header, footer? They do have a nice footer here at the bottom, so I think it works. They could repeat that on the first page if they wanted to. But going through their content, they also took the time to highlight some of these some of the words in the paragraph. I do think that they should highlight this one, because that tells me exactly how far they are from these major city hubs. So that I think is very relevant and should be highlighted. So things like that, again, looking at your copy, what makes sense to my reader, to my audience of this document. Remember, this document isn't going to your consumers. It isn't going to your customers. It's going to this industry audience. Okay. Again, I think if we're looking for who we get in touch with for events, this area of the contact name should definitely be bolded. Let that stand out. I would not only just bold it, but I would make the font bigger, right? I would make that easily to know. Maybe I would even box it. They do a great job here. I mean, again, highlighting some of the incredible features that you have that make your store unique. You have a lot of space. All right, 180 standing. Come on, that's great. Highlight that. Definitely leverage it. Going over to the second page, I just love the way they have these all lined up here. I love the fact that the store, they have the store picture there. I'd love to know if you are a connected store or you're in a shopping mall. I'd like to, because of the exposure that we have to, does the store gain from that exposure? So I would put that in your, about the store demographics. But they do a good job here. Again, everything, even though it's bulleted, is kind of like the same priority. Pull things out. You have a lot of social media activity. I think that's great. If you do a lot of YA children's, is that helping you? Is it supporting you? But otherwise, I really think they've done a good job at filtering out a lot of information. This is the part that I really have the most feedback on is, I personally would like a grid, because I think it's easier to look at. But if they didn't want to do a grid, or if they found that too challenging to import that into their document, no problem. Definitely bold though some of the successes that you have in here, and also put a year. Are we looking at what year are these events? So I think a timeline to that, bold them, possibly put it in a grid, but it doesn't have to be. All right. Good job, Chester. Thought that was good. Moving on. The next one I have is Gibson Bookstore. So I hope Gibson's on the line. I'm going to pull them up. They sent me 2 documents, and I'll explain to you why. Let's see. Make sure I pull up the right one. Okay, so this is their store press kit. And when you look at the layout, you're like, oh, it looks like a white paper. It's you know, kind of in a report form. But don't be deterred. This document is loaded. It has a lot of good information in here. And so the layout maybe could be updated. You know, I think it would be helpful because, again, we're looking at different, when we send these into the publicity department, there's all different ways that people learn how to, you know, absorb information. I would be working with visual learners and technical readers and detailed readers. I would be making sure that I hit all those points when I'm giving this document to whoever the recipient is. So I would definitely spend some time on upgrading the layout of this, but the information that they have in here packs a punch for sure. So they have a lot of things to promote and stand out. So like I'm highlighting all this over here that should be, you know, promoted and stand out from the paragraph. So I don't want my recipient of this document to hunt and peck for anything. I want things to stand out. You have some awesome numbers here, Gibson. I'd like to know, you said that you had an event planner and you've booked 500 events, and you've noticed, you know, there's an uptick in your events marketing since 2009, but I don't see, I'd like this broken out into what years we're talking about. You got some great name events here. Definitely give me some timeline as to when they are. And again, as when it goes to layout, this events coordinator, I think we should have their contact information somewhere really easy to grab and put, you know, continue the conversation about booking an event. All right, so you have some great larger events. Again, the years of, you know, again, promote some things. Go through your copy and promote some of the things that you are, you know, that may help you stand out from the pack. Again, bold this, your reporting store. Let's see. So that's my overall comment. I've highlighted a lot. You should see this is a completely highlighted document. But there are some things in here, for example, your great media partners. Okay, make sure you're highlighting all of them, all the ones that are the most effective for you, that really push the needle on your events. They get the word out and you get the people to respond because they put, they're spreading the word for you in either their media or their partners. The partner list is sharing it. Again, you work very well on your social media as well. So, you know, put the links here so it can be clickable. If I went back to Oblong, and I'll show you, I meant to do that. They have a really good clickable document. They have links there. I can click right on there without having to leave the document and go out and go to, you know, pull up social media account. So it makes just things easier. It's like a one-stop shopping deal. So again, Gibson's, I'd love headers and footers here. I'd love to see your logo. If this document, okay, got separated and I printed it and I put it on my desk and then my desk got a mess. If these pages got separated, they don't necessarily stand on their own. I don't know which store it is or which store it goes to. So before I get frustrated and throw it into the shredder, I want to make sure that I have headers and footers of exactly who this document belongs to. Okay, so just make it really, again, remember, it's easy, make it easier for the recipient. But your information here is incredible, really great. I don't think you're promoting it in this document as well as you can. Page numbers as well, if you're going to keep to this length. Now, Gibson's has this great association that they do this. Let me pull it up real quick. They work with this. Bear with me here. Right here, Writers in Spotlight Author Series. I love that they gave me a supplement on this. I think they can blend these two documents. There's definitely some repetitive information. Again, like they repeat a lot of what's already in the master document. So I think they need to take some time and work on layout, highlighting the important pieces, getting it down too, because we don't want this to be a memoir. We want it to be a short, concise marketing document. So I think they need to take some time in condensing these two documents. This is an awesome program that they run. So I think that, of course, is probably a very, very good feather in their cap. I think they can highlight that in one document. So they may have to go to 4 pages or, I don't know, 3 if they can get some really good layout. But I definitely take some time, Gibson's, to work on the layout and condensing these documents, and again, properly highlighting what your strengths are and what makes you unique. I hope that's helpful. All right, moving on. So that was Gibson. The next one is the Spotty Dog, Books and Ale. Let's see here. Hold on, I think they came up separately. Okay, for those that are looking at my screen, I want you to notice that the Spotty Dog gave me a press kit and it just says press kit. When you're attaching your press kits to an email, this is just a basic fundamental guideline, but I want you to don't overlook it. Because if you attach this to an email, to a publicity contact, and they're getting others from other stores, they're not going to know what store it's from. So please make sure that you properly name your document. Otherwise, it gets lost in the mix. And if it gets detached from an email, it can't stand on its own unless they open it up. So you want to make it easily identifiable from the name. There's Bethany Books did a good job on theirs by doing the naming, so I'll show you theirs. So I'm going to expand Spotty Dogs. Everyone can see that, ale. And again, looking at this layout, it's a white sheet, basically. It's a 1, 2, 3 page document. And everything is treated equally in their paragraphs. They have a lot of things. I mean, it has an ale. It's a pub as well. So I think this needs to be definitely stand out. Let this stand out and promote what makes you unique. So they have some really cool things in here. They have a beer tap in here. This all, you have to go through this and highlight your strengths. What makes you stand out from the rest of the other bookstores that are soliciting the publishers? Getting tongue-tied. Again, your city. A little bit long in the history of the city. Only provide the information about your town that's going to help promote the store's uniqueness, but also events. Okay, so we get into some history here. Frequently, this is great. It's very, very interesting. But again, when you're talking to a busy professional in the publisher's house, how, just at a glance, how is this condensed marketing document? How is that information going to help them? So again, relevant information. All right, so the author events are listed here. It's very clear. All right, but I'd like to see something current. Even if you aren't doing author events, if you're doing non-author events, there's a big gap in here. So I'd like to know how you are doing recently on your event system. Even if it's on the downside, just tell me what else you're doing so I know that you have a system for hosting events and you have a process to getting the message and marketing out. Okay, so that's really important. I think this Spotty Dog can definitely be upgraded to promote your uniqueness. Again, on this page, your best partners. Make sure, just because they're neighbors, are they great partners that work for you and your events? So when you're looking at your list of partners, don't list everyone just because they live within the parameters of your store. Make sure that they're working for you. So best partners and how they extend the reach of the events. Okay. I really like, let's see. Yeah, I mean, you have some great associations here. I just want to know which ones would be relevant to event planning. All right, moving along. All right, Harvard. This is an awesome one. Okay. This one's a beauty, no doubt. It's a longer document. I think it's 8 pages. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's definitely 8 pages. I'll scroll through it so you can see the layout. It's beautiful. Okay. The layout's very advanced. But that's because it's where they are in their business stage of life. You know, this store has a more complex marketing program going on. So they are extending their document to be more of a complete booklet. If they wanted to condense it, I think they could. I think if they wanted to get it down to 2 pages and make it a concise marketing document for the publishers, I think they could. But I think it's great the way it is. They definitely have exception to the rule here. But what I like, and I want to make sure that everyone models it for themselves, is how I love how they highlighted things. You know, they work very hard on their social media. They screenshotted some things about their website. They beautiful, clear pictures of different venues. Love how the branding is consistent through the document. Meet the events team. Love that. They have a staff. Okay, so that is important that for the publisher to be able to identify the person of contact with the clickable link. So this would click, if I click that would go right to their email. That's very, very helpful. So at my fingertips, I have important information. All right, event publicity, they're telling me how they get the word out. The languaging is not, they're not being overly creative. They're just saying, this is how we get the word out. I just like that. It's just easy at my fingers. I think you should look at this no matter what stage you are in your business. You look at this and model what works for you. Some of the groups that they work with are listed here nicely. Okay. Special events and private events. Again, what you can expect when they're hosting events. They have a system down. It's clear. They definitely have a more mature event promoting. But I think it's a very good tool to model after. So thank you, Harvard, for submitting that. Again, if my only comment on there would be if you can get it down, I think it would be great. Let's see, I just thought the layout was really helpful and easy to read. I think we can all learn from that one. Let's see here. Bethany Books. Okay, Bethany Books is another one that is a 2-pager, packs a punch. I think they did an awesome job on theirs. Okay, so I'll show you the other side just so you can see the overall layout. And they have their logo. They have a nice header. They have a footer down here that has the contact names, okay? Right here, they have all their information about the store. Again, you're probably going to guess it right now. I'm going to want some things that are bolded in here. So I think it's very, very interesting that they do. This is definitely a bolder. This is something that should stand out in the pack of this paragraph. Is that they pack a lot of events in a short period of time. They are definitely a seasonal store. They don't try to hide that. This is how their season ticks. They are clear about that in this document. All right. They also promote their social media. I think they do. That's great, especially if you're a seasonal store. You're not falling asleep in the winter. They're keeping things active all year round. So there is some awareness. So they don't have to start up anew every summer. So they're keeping in contact with newsletters, and this is very good for a seasonal store. They also do a great job in the way they lay out it. I love how they box it too. So at a glance, I can see, again, this header has beautiful pictures. It shows me different parts of the store, different layouts that are available for events. They also have, again, the location from their store. So again, I'll tell you that's important for a seasonal store, because if you're talking to someone in New York and they don't have any concept of how far you are from a major city, they may just write you off that you're too far, or you're going to be too expensive to send an author out there. So definitely lay it out and make it easy and promote how you can get an author there easily. I like that they offer places to stay, because if it is a further distance for an author to travel to, you want to make sure that you're making it easy as far as accommodations. You've already vetted these locations and you know that they would be good for any professional that's coming through. The notable events. This is great. I think they did an awesome job. It's not per se a grid, but it's a grid. They probably put a grid and took out the lines, and I think it's easy to read. It shows me their how productive they are on their events. I'm very pleased to see this. This is great. This is the only box I would definitely have more comment on. So for Bethany people, if you're listening, again, I want everything to have a strength and have a purpose on this document. And there are some things in here that are maybe a little bit, I would be considering them as fillers. And I think you could add some things that are going to give you more strength. So in this box right here where it says other important information, you have that you attend all regional and national book conferences. That's nice, but I don't know how that's really helping the publicity person book an event for you. So I know you're active. I can see that in your event level, but I'd rather know if you're a reporting store to New York Times. So if you are, I would definitely put that in this box and have that stand out. So that's just my
And also, I'm sorry, this is Eileen. Not only the New York Times, but the Indie
of course.
bestseller list.
Correct. And so look at this box and make sure it's not being a filler for you, and you give some thought as to what other things are going to give the store a more stronger angle. Okay. I think I made a note here. I'm just looking at my notes real quick. It says strong relationship with local papers, radio stations, and television news stations. If you do have a strong relationship with those local papers, maybe give tell us the reach, and if you're doing paid ads with them locally, or if they have given you a kind of like a free ad, whatever it is, I would, if it's a strong relationship, as you say, promote, even give them more data on that, because if that is part of your the way you get the message out, promote it. Okay. All right. That's Bethany Books. Great one. RJ Juliet. Okay. So they have another white paper layout. Okay. It's several pages. I think this one's a very long one. I'm going to just scroll through so it's about 7 pages. Okay. The layout, again, is a white paper, more like a document, a report. I think the layout could be laid out differently, but it does do a good job. There's important information here. Again, if this document got separated from each other, if it was printed and separated, each page doesn't have a header footer that I like. Like you have a footer here, I'd move that down and put it on every single page so we know exactly who we're talking about, even put the name of the store. Put the logo on each page if you're going to keep this layout. Again, highlight more important statements in this document. I would add some pictures. I went to your website and your Facebook, and you got some awesome pictures. So I would like to if you meet someone who doesn't know your store and are familiar with you right off the bat, they're new in the position and you're dealing with them, definitely give them, help it aid along. Give them what they need in this document to make a great decision and to know, that you're a good fit for an author that you're talking about. Again, your distance from the city, how many email subscribers? I mean, that's great numbers. These are great numbers. So if you aren't comfortable sharing numbers in these documents, you want to keep it as a separate document and it's called supplementary at a glance, that's fine too. But this document has a lot going on in it, a lot. And this could be your master document, and you could come up with a condensed form. I think that's probably my biggest comment for RJ Julia, is just to get this down to a condensed form and maybe consider some graphical layout, just so it's easier to deal with. All right, so my next one is Books on the Square. I think I just want to show you the naming, actually. I'm going back real quick. Bethany Books named their press kit, their name of the store, press kit, and I would even add a year. So that was really clear when it came attached to an email. All right, so just remember that. So I want to pull up Books on the Square. All right, so Books on the Square is, again, in a report format. It is 2 pages. Okay, and you probably already know what I'm going to say about this. Header, footers, page numbers. Well, no, it's only 2. If they print this on front and back, they don't necessarily need the page numbers. But again, they have a lot of copy that's equal. It's all equal. There's definitely some things in here that that should stand out and to make them unique. And I personally like this one. I like that you're a dog-friendly setting. I saw on your Facebook page that you have that right on your front window. So why not promote it here? So be consistent about promoting your uniqueness and your independent, independence. And again, there's a lot of information here equally. I have to kind of hunt and peck about your community. I really love that you have this reach out in Rhode Island, a strong relationship with this. Publishers are looking for ways to get for the children's programs. They're looking for ways to promote getting the books in front of other groups. So use that to your advantage. That is unique. You have a lot of non-author events. Okay, promote it. That's great. You get this many families in there. That's incredible. And so, does that affect sales? How does this tie into sales with book sales? You may want to add a line or two that lets them know the publicity. Remember your audience. They're looking for book sales, event processes, marketing, how you get the word out. And on the back, so I'm going to scroll down to page 2, you have our team. Okay, so going back to listing your the information that's going to be your strongest. What I would do with this is that I know your team they're all important, but I would definitely just list the key employees that deal with event planning on this. I know you have everyone here, but they're not all going to be the person of contact for event plannings and continuing that conversation. So definitely narrow this down. You have a lot of space. You probably can get this onto one page, but of course I want to know more about events. So again, if you don't have author events, if you are starting new in that area, I'm not sure where you are, but promote what you've been doing in a way that's easy at a glance look. Right? These awards are great, and you have these press kit links. I would definitely expand on this. I'm not sure. These are things that you were in. Great. Summarize it for me. They're not going to click on this link and read the entire spread on it. So help me out with that. Let me know how that helps events and so forth. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to Books on the Square. Let's see, we're almost done. How are we doing on time? 8 minutes?
Yep, we're doing good.
Okay, so I have Booktowns. I just want to show you a different way. Again, this is always in development. We're always tweaking this document. This is our layout. Our logo, a picture of our store, quick references, okay? This is where we are. This is what we've been doing online. This is our capacity. We're a tiny store. So it's very important for us to have partners. So I wanted them to know that we can supplement the store capacity with larger venues. These relationships are intact and strong and active. At a glance, I wanted them to, underneath this paragraph, instead of talking about the store and our extensive inventory, and I also was in a previous edition of this, I was also talking about the staff and how knowledgeable they were. I took all that out because that to me is a baseline. That's already a given. That should be happening at Booktown. They're already excellent curators and knowledgeable about the titles and can sell a book. So I wanted them to understand our seriousness about events. So that paragraph has a little bit stronger language than we've used in the past of how we are determined and really focused on building our events. So in our grid, we're right above our grid. I just have the contact information of our key employees. We have other employees. We had in other versions, I had everyone listed. I took that off and just put the key event planner people that they should get in touch with. And then at a glance, I have the grid. I have the title and author, the publisher, where it was, how many books sold, how many people are in attendance, and I've been adding this conversion rate. This is how many people attended and bought a book. I've noticed, and this is my way I'm going to promote Booktown, is that our events definitely help peak or move the needle for events, book sales. So it's an imperative part of our business model. So we're really measuring the conversion rate, and I wanted them to know that. So my footers are clear. Okay, contact information on both pages. All right, so they can, no matter which side they flip this page on, they can get in touch with us. And again, it's just how do we get the message out? It's really all the basics of that we have to have in play. All these fires are really going all at once. Our local print ads. Okay, we actually put ads in these papers. We actually submit online calendars to these sites. These are schools that we keep in touch with on a regular basis. So these are very active relationships. Again, these colleges, we're developing relationships with them and our memberships, and that we're reporting. All right, and just some other highlights that we try to always make sure that we get some recognition once a year. That's always a challenge, but we're always working on that. And I just put some pictures in here so they could see the layout of the store. Really important for us to show that we have space outside of our tiny store. Okay, so that are the examples, and I really hope that you were able to look at them and see that you can take some of these examples and put them into action for you. So to kind of like wrap up everything that I just said, I gave you a ton of information. I want you to just maybe take today or maybe take some time soon and use the momentum of this call to get your content organized. Okay, if you don't have a press kit developed yet, please get started. When you go to your speed dating, you definitely want this document to be ready, and as best as you can for that meeting. Again, work on what makes your store unique. You want to stand out from the pack of your colleagues. So work on, talk to your team, brainstorm what makes you unique outside of what is the baseline of owning and having a unique, an independent bookstore. Remember who your reader is, and make sure that document is scannable. So make sure your store is memorable. Again, know your audience. Be succinct as possible. And at these meetings, make the best connections you can, and always, always, always follow up and keep in touch. And if you want more information about me and what I do, I would love to keep in touch with you. You can always visit me at maribethpelly.com.
Okay, I had a question from Melissa. She wanted to know what software programs people are using to create these graphic press kits.
Oh, that's a great question. I can tell you that I'm on a Mac, so I was able to use a built-in template that they gave me for Pages. Pages is like Word documents. So if anyone is on the call that works on a PC and doesn't have, or any other suggestions, could you just submit that? You could unmute yourself and just talk if you want.
Actually, I have more questions. So if you could just, I think everyone's on the chat and can read it. So if you just send your program suggestions via the chat, and I'll even make a note and share it with people. I have some other questions. Should we list that we're the only store in a certain geographic area?
Great. Yes. And that's important, so you're not having anyone else feed into your market for an event. So you don't have to go through the questions of saying, okay, well, are you booking this author, within, at another, in a certain mileage perimeter. So yeah, definitely promote that, and you can get, and also make sure that you are taking advantage of the marketing. What marketing channels are you using to take advantage of being the only independent or the only bookstore in that area?
Okay, another question was, they have authors who call in for book clubs. Should we include these sales from book clubs?
Well, it's an event, right? I think so. Especially if you're starting out in your event promotion and planning system, use what you can. So that is promoting book sales. Yes.
All right, and the question was, will we be able to access these media kits after the webinar? NABA posts the media kits from our NABA stores on our website. If you go to the Find a Member page on our website, naba.com, we've got all the media kits we received from our October event, and I didn't load the ones Mary Beth received because people would probably make some corrections. Anyone can email me their media kit, and I will put it on the website. I also promote that to the publicists after speed dating so that they can go to our website and download any of the media kits. So email me your media kit if it's ready to go, and go to our website under Find a NABA Member, and you can see any of the kits I've got available.
Also, just for the people that are still on the call and listening, I have put together a quick at-a-glance press kit checklist. And Eileen and we just talked about that this morning, how we're going to get that out to you guys. I think it's going to be on the NABA website.
Correct. And just as a summary, we will be putting this recorded program on the NABA YouTube channel. As soon as that's up, I will send you all a link so you can either use it for review to look at the kits again, and for those who aren't on the call. And then again, a reminder, it's on February 27th. The speed dating check-in is at 9:30. We're at Caroline's on Broadway, which is at West 50th Street and Broadway. I will send you a reminder email a few days before with parking information. We're also going to send you out a list of the publishers participating so that you can give us a wish list, because you'll only get 17 appointments and we have 25 publishers. Kerry will also you for a credit card. We had 3 stores no show, and we don't want that to happen. So we will, there's a $100 cancellation fee. It's really just to make sure that you just don't blow this day off. It's a very important day. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or Mary Beth or Kerry. We're here to help you. And we're very excited about this program and the value it brings to all of our members.
All right, I'm just seeing some other questions in the chat. So whoever is waiting and has the questions, feel free. I will address them real quick here. How many copies of the kit should we bring to the speed dating? That's a very good question. I think you should plan on, at the last meeting, there was 2 people per meeting on the general. So I had a copy for everyone for each appointment. So I had 2 copies for each appointment. So I think I forget how many appointments we had, but Eileen, will they have a general idea? You said 17 appointments?
17 appointments, and sometimes there's 2 publishers at a table.
Right, so I would be prepared with that many copies. You may have extras, but I'd rather have more than not enough. And business cards.
All right, I think we can let everyone head out. Those are our reminders.
Great, thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. Hope you got something out of it.